Hey, how are you? Well, I got a bunch of work to do, as you can tell. Much more wood to buck up. So instead of having coffee or tea inside, we'll have coffee and tea out here on the log pile. Because I want to talk about some subjects today, finish out the week. And, oh man. Ooh, it's nice to have something hot when you're out here. It's not even that cold. That's the reason I haven't been shooting too much outside. My plan is that as the season goes, we'll start doing some more stuff and having some coffee out here, which is where I prefer to be instead of locked up in the house, right? Even though it is nice to be nice and cozy with that stove. I love that Blaze King. Cheers to Blaze King. Ooh. But anyway, I want to talk about something because it just hit me last night because I was thinking about what is it with the freaking Epstein files and beef jerky and adrenochrome. And then it's like, wait a minute, we talk about word origins, right? And adreno. Okay, they call it chrome, but adrenaline. And then it got me thinking about an experience I had when I was in South Korea, working for the Korean Army, and I got invited out to a dog dinner. Yes, Koreans, not just the Vietnamese. Yeah, my freaking geese are going up. But not just Vietnamese eat dog, but Koreans eat dog. But here's the thing on how it's done in Korea. It's totally freaked out. That's why I tried it once, and I had no interest in doing it again. But I'll tell you first what the experience was. Because in Korea, when the guys are going out on a night on the town and hopefully going to go hook up with somebody, maybe they go hook up with a freaking, quote, noraebang girl. And if you don't know what a noraebang girl, you can probably assume that a noraebang girl is a girl, like a bar girl in Thailand. Well, noraebang, bang is room in Korean, and nore is to sing. So it's a singing room. It's kind of like, what do the Japanese call it? I forgot what the Japanese, more Americans know what the Japanese name is for it, but noraebang is the room where you hang out, you party like crazy, and Koreans definitely know how to party when it comes to drinking soju and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so we went out and had dog dinner. We had it was all different ways, barbecued, grilled. Gogi, tang in a soup. And the wild thing about it is I'm eating this dog. I'm like, God, I'm feeling like really, really good. And it's kind of weird, like I'm feeling like really, really good. And I know it wasn't just because, hey, I'm just enjoying the company. It was like something is happening. And it was giving me like an elation, kind of like a high. And then I asked like one of my my hosts, and I said, "Oh, what is this?" Oh, it's from the dog. And I go, "Oh, okay, interesting." But what I didn't know is how and why it comes from the dog and what it is. Now this, if you're not ready for this, you might want to like take a break, come back to this. But I'm going to explain to you why these freaks like adrenochrome. I don't think it's just for the anti-aging aspect that these people are going after it, the evil cabal, right? So, on a dog level, what happens is they traumatize the dog while they're killing it. You're not going to want to hear this, because when I heard it, I was freaked, because I'm a dog lover. I've loved dogs ever since I was a kid. And when I found out about this, I was like, I love horses too. And in France, they eat horse. Germany, they eat horse. It's only in the US really that we don't eat horse. And horse tastes good too. But anyway, let's get back to Asia. So the way they kill these dogs, and this is horrific, is they bludgeon it or they torch it with a cutting torch. So, this is some horrific stuff, I'm telling you. When I heard this, I was just floored. I just could not believe it. And that's actually the real reason that when they were having the Olympics and people, see, when you go through Seoul, you see these signs and it's a little puppy in front of a restaurant. Well, that's a dog restaurant. Ge. Ge is dog. Ge tang. Ge gogi. So, what's happening is the dog, while it's being basically tortured, does this ring a bell with what they say about the cabal? That these freaking evil motherfuckers. And now that's why I believe all the stuff that's coming out of the Epstein files, and the more people realize and recognize what this is the idea that these people aren't just eating the flesh of dogs like the Koreans are. They're eating the flesh of heavily traumatized, adrenaline pumped up victims. And that Epstein beef jerky in the emails. And the reason I was like, what is it about this? Because if you don't know what it is and you continue to enjoy it, or you're a sociopath like Epstein and you don't really care how it's done, and you have an addiction to this pumped up feeling that you get from eating traumatized flesh that is just packed in with adrenaline, endorphins, you're a vampire. So we're starting to realize that vampires are real. And they've been preying around the world. And they're these elites. So something's coming. The more and more people hear these stories, like the story that I'm telling you, and the correlation that I had this just epiphany of like, oh my God, that's what adrenochrome is. That's the reason that these freaking evil motherfuckers, these evil power elites, have this fascination and hunger. I mean, if you look at the emails and you look at the string of emails, like I told you, follow the link and search under the word string of beef jerky. And you read about freaking Epstein just, oh, send me more. He can't wait to get more freaking beef jerky. He wants more beef jerky. That's some evil shit there, man. God damn. People need to hang. This isn't like, oh, they're going to prison. If you've got a rabid dog, what do you do with it? You put it down. You got a wolf that's coming in biting people. You put it down. You got a human who's eating people, is into sacrificing people to some evil freaking demon god that they've got, Moloch. You put them down. I mean, all you veterans that went and fought off on all these freaking wars for these motherfuckers, who sent us to all these different freaking wars just so that they could profit, and they never fought in any one of them. I think we're going to have an opportunity to actually fight the first war for America. And it ain't going to be overseas. It's going to be here in this country. And it's going to be a cleansing. And it's going to be getting rid of these motherfuckers. These are evil. There is true fucking evil in this world. And you need to accept it. The reason people can't, it's like I talked previously, is the disbelief. Good people can't really grasp that there are such evil kind of people out there in the world. And that's how they're so easily able to prey on good people, on these children, and innocents. Because the innocent want to think better. They would just say, oh, well, I'm just being invited to an activity, to a party, to a beautiful island. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a great time. I got a job as a masseuse. Shoot, I don't have to think about it. And I'm going to get all this money. It can't be that bad. And then suddenly they realize one night, a bunch of people in freaking dark black cloaks, in candles, enchanting some freaking language that they don't recognize. And they're freaking on the menu. Think about that. Let's segue to something else. And that's the thing about something that's floored me, because I've just realized a second friend of mine. I had one friend who got vaxxed so that he could go frickin' hunting in Africa. And when he told me that, this is the part that frickin' just blows me away. He should have known better. But he just wanted, and it wasn't like he'd never been to Africa. He'd been frickin' hunting Africa. I've got a kudu that he gave me because he's had so many kudu. But he just had to go to Africa again, and so he got vaxxed. And when he told me that, I was like, I thought he was a smart man. What a fucking idiot. You sell your soul. It's like you will not do it for anything else. But evil will find your weak spot. See, remember, evil doesn't waste its time on the strong. If you're strong in your beliefs on things will be okay. But see, the thing about evil is it goes around, it smells it. It tries to smell your weakness. And when it finds your weakness, think about it. That's how Epstein worked. He found the weakness of all these little fucking pedophiles, these evil motherfuckers. And not just pedophilia, the chance or an opportunity to murder. Kind of like, what was it, in Serbia? Was it in Serbia where they were freaking having safaris where the power elites could see what it was like to snipe somebody? God, man. I would have loved to have been there to do fucking counter sniper. I would have loved that. I like hunting evil people. Because anybody who would shoot defenseless civilians just to know what it's like to kill people. Fuck. There are people who are worth dying, killing. And we're starting to see more and more of them being publicly outed. And I'm telling you, it's coming. Because if there's any time... See, when we had an American Revolution, when we had the Civil War against the Brits, that was about currency. That was about independence and freedoms. Remember that. Independence and freedoms to the American people. Or what would become the American people. No longer colonials. And that's a good fight. Because slavery should stop, especially if you're being enslaved to bankers, because that's what it was all really about. It was about currency. And actually, the American Revolution, which was really a civil war, was a civil war, but was a truest form of debt default. Kind of like what I think we should do to China. Just say, we're not paying. Come and get it. Done. Oh, but they won't trust us anymore. They don't trust us now. Nobody trusts us now. How do you know that? Because we are no longer the retainers of the global reserve currency. Read up on it. Understand what that really means. That was based on trust. That means they don't trust us anymore. If they don't trust us anymore, they're not going to trust us with anything else. And we can keep on trying to pay off a debt that's really just a form of usury, which is enslavement. That's the reason cultures are not supposed to do it upon themselves. So everybody talks about, Jews are not allowed to charge usury, or usury, depending on how you want to pronounce it, interest amongst other Jews. But what Christians aren't aware of is that Christians aren't allowed to do it to Christians either. Isn't that amazing how quickly freaking Christians are willing to charge interest to other Christians now? Because they've forgotten who they are. Have you forgotten what you are as a Christian? You shouldn't be charging interest, and you shouldn't be charged interest by another Christian. This is how cultures are destroyed, is you forget your identity, you forget who you are. And sometimes it's done just by the environment, as it's been done in the United States, but it's also done by active violation and attack by another culture. And it's been done here in the United States. One of the ways is, you saw a big part of it when they smuggled in all these freaking illegals to take over the country and interact with the country. So instead of defending the country, they're attacking the very agents who are trying to get rid of these people who are going to change the voting body of this country. And when those people vote illegally, because they're not supposed to be in this country in the first place, and they're not going to be ID checked, the country's going to be lost. So the only option you have is to roll over and take it, or you're going to get violent. And when that violence comes, the question is, are you going to be ready? Or are you going to be like the people who are like, well, you know what? I want to go to Africa. Or another friend of mine who I just found out he had to go to a festival in a country where they required the vax. So, and this is after I had talks with my friend about don't get it, do not get it. It is a death jab. It is another form of the cabal trying to thin out the population. And so what is the objective? I was reminded about it because I was listening to a rabbi talk about it. So here's how it's going to play out according to the prophecy of the Judaic, which is the Christians are going to fight the big war with the Muslims. And then the Muslims and the Christians are going to thin each other out. So remember, divide and conquer. And then after, they're going to join. So the Christians and the Muslims are going to actually join together because they realize they've been played. Then they're going to go against the Jews. But the problem is that the Christians and the Muslims had thinned them out so much that they'll get to the point where there'll be the final war where 2/3 of the planet's population will be destroyed. And that 2/3 will basically be 100% according to the Judaic prophecy of the Mashiach. Then the Mashiach will come. And when that Mashiach comes, the 2/3 of the population that will be gone, there will be the 1/3 of the population, which will be the majority, will be quote Jews, depending on what kind of Jews. And if you're a good Jew or a bad Jew, which is you follow the Torah, you have your family completely following the Torah, you do all the ceremonies you're supposed to do according to the Torah. And if you're in with that, you get to stay. And if not, you'll continue enjoying the other 2/3 that are already gone. So that is the belief. That is the prophecy. There's no question about it. You can ask any rabbi. He will tell you. Ja, Gewalt. Ja. So, I'm a goyim because I don't believe in the Jewish religion. I consider myself a Christian. Am I a good Christian? Who knows? I believe in God. I believe that Christ is the Son of God. But I also believe that Buddha was a prophet of God. So, I see no conflict in that because Buddha is a prophet. The Son of God is a different thing. But there's also the understanding of who the Son of God is and who that is in relation to all of us. Interesting. So, the question is, are you willing to sell your soul just so you can go to a festival? Will you sell your soul so you can go hunting in Africa and get that big kudu or Thompson gazelle or the big lion or that Cape buffalo? Damn, why go so cheap, right? Because basically that's what you're doing. If you got vaxxed, you got infected by something that was designed by an evil group. They designed it in order to make you part of the 2/3 that will be going away. They have all these actions. It's not one action. It's not going to be this giant nuclear bomb. It's not going to be this straight-on apocalypse that happens one day and it's over and everybody's like 2/3 gone. No, it's working its way. So a number of people die from the bioweapon. A number of people die from the fake vaccine. A number of people die in the chaos it's created throughout the country and countries with all this dilution of cultures in Europe, in the West. They attempted in Russia, but Putin, he said no. Hungary said no. Poland has said no. I find that very interesting. They're not listening into that crap that frickin' Germany did and France did. and the UK has done, I mean, they're dust. They're dust. And it's self-inflicted. Oh, and that's another thing to be understanding about this evil cabal. See, they've been warning us in movies, in writings, in TV shows. And the thing about it is, if you read about the belief system, especially the Frankist belief system, which is the idea that they live their life with the idea that there is salvation through sin. Not aside from sin or against sin, but through sin. You commit sin in order to have salvation. How sick and twisted is that? Jacob Franks came up with that one. Oh, yeah. And we don't wait for God to bring Israel to us. We go off and we make Israel. And that's what they've done. That's what the Zionists have done. And now they're doing it in Patagonia. And they're going to take the Americas. They've already got them pretty much all locked up. And then now we got Venezuela because they took out the guy who was actually resisting and trying to keep their central bank from being taken over by the globalist central banks. Remember, that's banking. Banking is the way they've been able to find a way to control the goyim. That's you and me. Unless you're Jewish. Unless you're Zionist. Because if you're not a good Zionist, then it doesn't matter if you're a good Jew, does it? Because one believes in God and the other one doesn't believe in anything. They just believe in power and control and reward in this life. And through people, not through God. Or Yahweh, right? So I got to ask you, what is your weak point? What is a weak point? Ask yourself, what is your soft spot? Think about that. This is tactics. This is logistics. If I was in battle, and I knew the freaking enemy was going to try and run the wire, I would try to find out where I have the weakest point in my wire. Where's the weakest point in your defenses? Where's the weakest point in your wire? You should bolster it up. Think about it. Is it women? Is it men? Is it relationships? Is it romance? Is it money? Is it pride? Is it ego? What is it? Ask yourself that. Because if you're strong in that, and you have a strong code, and you have a sense of honor, you will not do things that could corrupt you and enable you to be so manipulated, so easily manipulated. Like every one of these people who's on the Epstein list, who's in the Epstein files. Think about that. Strengthen yourself. Because when the frickin' shit hits the fan, and it's all, I shouldn't even say when it does. It's hitting now. It is hitting. It has been hitting since COVID. COVID was the first, it was basically the trumpet blare. Think about COVID as the trumpet blare. That's the moment when you know the enemy is coming, and they blare those trumpets. It's kind of like my dad's war, where the Chinese just blared all their trumpets to scare the Marines. At Chosin and the Yalu River and all these places. That's what they did. And that's what COVID is. That's what that bioweapon was. It was the call to action. And all the evil stuff that's coming in after that. And from that, there's going to be more of it. There's going to be more attempts at demoralization. There's going to be more and more attempts to divide us. It's going to be tricky. Because you have people who think that, oh, well, they're left. Or, oh, they're right. Oh, they're conservative. Oh, they're liberal. And then they forget they're Americans. When I was a kid, you could easily say that a Democrat was a Democrat and a Republican was a Republican. But we were all Americans. And that's why you could have conversations in small towns in Kansas, Nebraska, Texas. Every morning, go to the cafe, meet your neighbors. One would be a Democrat, the other a Republican, and you might chide each other on who's winning or losing. But you're chiding each other. Now people can't even have conversations about it because they're so afraid to let their tenderness out because they've had such poor experiences. They have a lack of experience because of technology. Technology was designed to divide us. to keep us all locked up in our homes and rooms, losing the skills of interactivity. And even now, children who don't even have that ability because they don't even go to classrooms, that they can do most of their work at their computer at home. Not even have to interact with their family. Think about that. We, as a species, need to be able to interact. And they've done such a damn good job of preventing that. Think about that. We've been under attack. The next one we'll be talking about is AI. And we'll be talking about Adolf Peter Thiel. Yeah, Heil Thiel. That guy. And I find it wild because he went to, San Mateo High School. I went to Carlmont. I played football against frickin' San Mateo. He was born in 67. I was born in 64. So he would have been a frickin' freshman when I was a graduating senior. That's how close. And that's how I understand, because I was also in the Silicon Valley's gold rush, that first big bubble. And I read the whole thing. But that's because I understood human behavior. When everybody was wondering why did it crash? And then the big talkers and the big VCs, the venture capitalists, were saying, oh, they weren't producing anything. And I was like, I was watching the money. I was watching the money coming in. And that was the first thing that I saw. I was like, we're not making a damn thing here. Why are we getting so much money? That should tell you something about money. What is real wealth? What is fiat currency? What is perceived money? What is real money? We can talk about that again, but I've told you gold and silver is real money. Wealth and in assets is gold, silver, property, land, strategic assets, knowledge. If you have a skill, that's a strategic asset, something that people will pay you for. They can't pay anybody else because you have a monopoly on it, because you're so good at it. Think about these things. Think about how you're going to get through this. Because this is a whole new world that your parents never went through, your grandparents never went through, and even your great-grandparents never went through. We're talking about basically like they say it's a spiritual war. And when you look at the depravity of what's been happening with Epstein and all this other stuff, I mean, I've had to take a break reading these files. I've seen some pretty nasty stuff, and I'm saying nasty, I mean some dark stuff in war. I've never seen something to this level. I mean, even the stories that I heard about the massacres that were in El Salvador before I got there, they dim in relation to the evilness of what this has been all about, and all of it centered in New York City. Think about that. Think about that. Anyway, I'm going to start this chainsaw up and get back to work, bucking up. Going to get back into the lower teens again after it's been hitting 36, 37 in the day. So stay toasty. Stay warm. God bless. Keep your eyes open. Don't delude yourself. Try not to have a normalcy bias. Pay attention to what you really see. Don't ignore it. Again, God bless. Watch your six.